So I've already shared a little bit about Neena. Thank you so much being with us at in this space of conversations, and conversations. I'm so grateful that you have the time to talk to me. And I want to know a little bit more about your work and dedication and what drives you.
Thank you, Kamaljeet. Thanks for this opportunity. I feel blessed to get to know you and to share a few things that I have learned along the way. So, everyone, hello, and thank you once again. Kamaljeet, do let me know if you want me to speak it in English, Punjabi, Hindi.
English is good. English is good. Everyone can, get the best of it.
For sure, for sure.
So could you share a little bit about yourself too? Again, I have already shared a little about your work and what would drive you, Neena. Like there's so much of passion you have about yourself that,
I know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Kamal. Yeah, so I think I'm still learning every day when I go to work. There is so much excitement and so much learning in this field, and I think that is on its own, it's a blessing when you get up every morning. And I look forward to go to work, right? So I think, which is even though work is hard, even though the situations that we hear and what I do is very difficult. I wish there was a day when I said, "Oh, I didn't get any calls today. Oh, the housing is pretty good," right? But there's lots out there that's going on, and then I think we all need to support this cause. So what I'm doing, Kamal, is right now I am a director with PICS organization, and I look after their second stage housing, right? So second stage housing is a safe place for women and children where they can come and stay with us for a long period, where we really support them and help them to be independent. And this program is, we specialize with working with immigrant women from different countries. So women who have language as a barrier, they don't have much family around, they're still new to the country. So Harmony House and Serenity House specializes in that. And before that, I used to work in the first stage, which was a transition house here in Richmond. Yeah, so that's about me. And what else? So another thing that I'm really passionate is that I volunteer, and I've started my own South Asian helpline. It's like a crisis line where people call and they can just talk. It's anonymous, 24-hour crisis line. They don't have to give us their name, where they're from, and that is just over the phone support.
Yeah, I would like to have a list of your, resources, and particularly this, South Asian helpline information at the closing of the, of our talk as well.
Sure.
So that, I will also post it below the information of the video because this is very important, and a lot of women need that. They have things going on and they want to talk to someone, but then there is no one. They don't even have the confidence to talk to somebody. So,
and it's that first call. It's that the first call when someone is going through an issue, they can just pick up the phone and call. And yeah, and we can talk. I can even bring in one of the staff that you can talk to a little bit more on that line.
Yes, I definitely want to have ongoing talks. Like this is my drive and passion as well. But I am not a psychologist. I'm not a social worker. I'm just a layperson who has a number of these experiences, and I really feel the need of bringing this up, and especially our community of South Asian women. It's very, very important. And so, what have been your learning moments through, while supporting women? Transition house interactions are not easy at all. So what have been your own learning moments through this?
I think my own learning is, as I mentioned earlier, every time I sit with a family that is going through a crisis, there is a huge learning, right? But one thing that I've learned is throughout this, no matter what person is going through, no matter where they are, we just need to work on their strengths and on with the respect, really, really giving them the respect. I think no matter what has happened, and I think that's where the connection happened, right? Like, so there's no judgment, and you're sitting with them and just trying to really understand what happened. And and sometimes I sit with my my client, and I just tell, what, like, I'm sorry this happened to you, right? But here, you always have me. I'm going to be with you, and I just want you to trust me. And and of course that's just saying, but I really want to just give them right from the get-go that you can trust me, I'll be here for you, right? I think, and just sometimes hearing that really helps. I might not have all the answers, I might not be able to provide all the things that they need, but I'm just going to be just going to be their support.
Yeah, absolutely. My sense is to also, feel aligned within your own physical and mental self, and then see what is going on, and what kind of vulnerable situations you may like to identify, based on your observations, and what can they actually lead to sometimes, emotionally, socially, and, of course, not to forget their safety.
So I think every situation, I think whenever anyone, a senior, a young person, a professional, I think sometimes people think, oh, maybe this is because she wasn't educated enough, or because, no, it is universal. Domestic violence is still a huge issue in our society. I have worked with doctors, with like, gynecologist was in one of our transition houses. I have, so right at the get-go, like, I think we really need to clarify, it happens. It could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any age, right? So I think, but being very careful that, how you approach, as I mentioned, and some of the the stories that I hear is just, yeah, it's really sad, because one is, how these women have been really, like, just from right from the beginning, right, from their family homes, from their dads and brothers, oh, their moms, one day you're going to get married. Like, we have made this whole marriage or relationship at such a high pedestal, and when they fail, they feel that they are a failure, right? Because right from the beginning, oh, one day you're going to get married, you're going to move on, so when they feel like there's so much emphasis is on this relationships and being married and have kids, and a lot of times these women feel like, oh, am I a failure? So just to remind them, no, you are not, and you have these strengths, and just finding those strengths, right? Sometimes, so, I start asking them, and they start coming, and the resiliency that comes out of it's like, wow, it just amazes me, right? Like, I'm just there, just one part in their life, right? But what they've been through and how strong it is. But again, being alone, being new in the country, and not having, I think the other thing is having lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. I had a client, and so I'm like, why you stayed so long? She was in her late senior age time when she came, and she said, Neena, you know why? Because I thought he's going to deport me. He's going to send me back to my country.
Wow.
And so one day, I think, I don't know where she heard or she listened, that no, once you're here. And so she waited to get her Canadian citizenship, but he could have never deported her, right? So I think and she said, the day I found out that this was all a big lie, that was it.
Yeah.
Because I moved out, right, and found so, and I was like, oh my God. So it's just lack of that knowledge is one. Other is really finding, like, the children, a lot of time our society is like, oh, what's going to happen with the kids, right? They feel like, oh, if I have a son, he's going to go into drugs, he's going to do this, like, all these things that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of a social norm, societal norm, to have to depend, or at least show that you depend on a power figure in the family who's generally is accepted as a male dominant person in the family whom you can rely and you depend on, and everything is in his control, which is not correct. Information is very important, and I totally agree with you about this deportation thing. I have heard this many times, and even after so many years of talking to and spreading the information, people don't get to know, because a lot more needs to be done in this area. And so, now what would, based on your experience again, what are the trigger points one can be conscious about? Like, supposing if a person is not comfortable in a certain situation in a family, or within oneself, there must be something, why am I not comfortable? So what could be the trigger points to be conscious about, and how to go about, taking the step forward?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is, if there is something going on, right? Like, I think our bodies tell us, there's always these little gut feeling will tell you like something is not settling, right? And just remember, me or any of the staff or support people, resources out there, they're not here to separate you or break families, or so do not ever feel that, right? We have women who have come to our houses, stayed with us for 6 months, and have decided to go back, which is so great. And we've actually supported them because, maybe the other partner went counseling. Now she's going back with so much more strengths and so much more knowledge. So I think a lot of times, especially within our South Asian culture, they're all saying, oh, this is a private matter. No, when domestic violence is not a personal anymore, it's criminal, it's wrong. Someone to hit you, abuse you emotionally, physically, it's a crime, right? So I think we need to talk about it. So please, if anyone is going through anything like that, pick up the phone, either call helpline, speak to someone, even to your own doctor. Just let them know a little bit what's going on and get the information. Even if you don't want to say, just say, look, I need some information regarding this. What are resources for a woman, or or maybe a single mother or children who wants to leave? What can a person do? Sometimes I get called, oh, my friend is going through, which is fine. Either you or your friend, get to know the resources. May God, forbid, maybe you never need those resources. But as I was mentioning, like, I think knowledge is a power. It's on its own. Just get to know, maybe you don't need it. Maybe somebody else, maybe when you're dropping your children at school, maybe your coworker, who knows who might end up. So empower yourself by knowing the resources, and then it's your choice. Find out, what does the law say, and we are in a country where there is so many resources. It's really clean cut guide that anyone can read. So empower yourself with the knowledge.
Yes, knowledge is very critical. I totally agree with you. Like that knowledge that is missing, and they feel very weak, and they're scared. It creates a lot of fear without knowledge. That lack is puts a woman or anybody down. Like lack of knowledge is very, very sad, and one should be aware of. So what can, what would you like to share with any women who are in similar situations moving forward? Like, of course, one is that they need to talk to people, gather some knowledge. And this reminds me, you also have a resource list, which I would like to put up as well, for women who can use it. Are there any particular organizations or community centers where they can talk, or you have any?
Yeah, so Kamaljeet, as I mentioned, so every situation is going to be different, right? So there are so many resources. So you can, PICS organization, they have an outreach worker. You can call me, we can leave my number, Kamaljeet, and then what we, call the Sahas helpline. So what happened is, because every situation is different, right? So someone will call, okay, I am a mom with 2 small children. The resources we're going to give it to that woman is going to be different different than a senior person who might be going through some issues with, with her, she has some income issues or housing issue. So there are resources, but I think really, so we'll cater it towards the way whatever is going on, right? And if we can't find the resource, we'll make sure we will talk to somebody else and get that information to you. So I would say really, really important, do pick up the phone, or do speak to someone. Maybe you didn't have a good experience one time, and it's okay. Ask someone who specializes in domestic violence space if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for affordable housing, then I need to speak to someone who specializes in housing. If you feel that you're going through some legal issues and you're going through separation and your lawyer is not really doing what you thought he should be doing, and you just want to check in, then speak to a legal advocate, right? You have a landlord tenancy issue, then yeah.
Yeah. And what about girls? Do you have something like, you must have had connections or experiences, witnessed young women who get, because of their peer group, or girls when they in their schools, they feel compared and they go through this stress, and probably they are being bullied. There's a lot of cyberbullying as well. And it can lead, of course, it leads to emotional and, mental breakdown, and can lead to certain use of substances. That's what I have heard and I have observed. What are your thoughts, and what would you recommend?
So Kaushik, in my experience, yes, I've worked with a lot of young girls, but a lot of time we actually hear more from the moms, right? So the mother would call us and say, I'm worried, like this is, my daughter's coming home late, or she is maybe dressing up in a certain way or something. So then we try to work with the mom to really make her understand maybe what her young child or her daughter might be going through, what's going on in the home that she's feeling this way, and then give her the support that she needs, that how can she support her daughter, and then also ask the permission, or say can you just pass it on the number, let us speak to her. To be honest, a lot of young girls, they're not very upfront about it, right? So it takes time for them to build the trust, right? Because they still feel they can talk to their peers, their friends, or going out, and then but you just, again, you give them respect, you try to understand what they're going through, but also teach them about like those red flags, like what they need to be careful. Fine, you want to go out, you want to enjoy, your choice, right? But when you are out there, be careful about these are the things that we want you to look. And I remember sometimes when we're talking to those women, I'm like, okay, everything is going over the head. But then they've come back and said, oh, when you said that, I remembered that. And when that happened next time, right away they were, able to say, oh, this could be abuse. This is a controlling behavior of my boyfriend that I'm going out with, right? Like, so that's all we can do, just slowly teach them, right?
Yeah, it is. And I have also come across, students, there are international students, girl students who have found themselves in very difficult situations. And again, because there is so much of lack of awareness, despite of the fact they could be connected to their school or, college counselors, they may not like to talk to them. And it is pretty grim. And whenever times like festival time, and now this is the New Year time, it's a very a time full of pressure, and they feel very vulnerable. They could feel alone. They could feel isolated. What are your thoughts? I mean, there is no solution. It's awareness, but what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think, as like for example, I have a couple of really young girls. They're international students that they've reached out. One of the girl is even staying with us at the house. She wasn't safe out there. And what I see is the loneliness is one. Secondly, being in a new country, a lot of pressure, education. It's a whole different community. They weren't prepared, right? So in the beginning, it feels like, wow, so much freedom, so much this, but nobody really there to guide them.
Yeah.
And maybe as us as community, we also failed them. We really didn't prepare them and didn't support it. Also we also became there was judgments, right? And and when I hear their side of story, I feel like, yeah, right, like they have lots to say. But so when I'm working with these young girls, I just remind them, have your goals, be positive, build support systems around you. You can't do it alone. So having those wraparound services, good money management, good self-esteem, and having, a spiritual practice maybe, or, just having somewhere that they can really talk, right? And it's okay to ask help. Right. Yeah. Maybe back home, it's like asking help. Why would someone care? And once they find out, oh my God, there is these many support system there, I could actually be in a safe place, have access to counseling, right medication, right support. It's just like, it's just that.
You used a word that's very important. You said judgmental. People are judgmental, and what can the community do? How do you feel that they should interpret, and how can they support?
I think it's having an open communication, right? Like if there is something that we feel these young girls are doing that doesn't really fit the society, let's talk to them, let's teach them, let's show them the right way, right? I think that whenever there were a few things that especially the young girl I was working with, there were some guidelines that that she wasn't abiding by. So I really sat down and had a really good chat and say, okay, you have two options, either this, in order, and then we wrote it down. And once she felt that I was coming from a place that I really cared, and I was able to really reflect her, what's my underlying, like, it's not that I want to control, that I'm judging her, but it's that I'm really worried, I'm concerned. And I showed her the stories. I told her what's happening outside, and how our brain and our mental, when we are sad, how easily, it could go attracted towards alcohol, to the drugs, because it's an escape. Right. And, and I'm glad she listened, and she actually came and said, wow, I didn't knew that I was actually going to that. And then when even she never confided anything in me that that's what she was doing, but she's like, it was good. Like she was able to catch herself. Right. So.
So what are your thoughts about on discrimination, not only racial or color, but also discrimination within the community, like there are, I have come across girls who feel very isolated in schools and within peer groups because they don't fit in the group of people who have already settled or who have been long-term, maybe second generation in Canada. So
Yeah.
how do you feel? How should they deal, and how should the older generation, or the children from the older generations, they should feel and make them feel home, the new generation, the newcomers coming?
Yeah. Kamaljeet, it's a big question, and I wish I had an answer, but I really feel this is something as a whole community we need to, work on. One of the big thing is, I think the society where we are right now, we're in such a busy life, kind of, trying to pay your mortgages, trying to, commute from one place to, it's just gone so busy. Whereas, it's just finding the time. And I think our gurdwaras, our temples and churches, they also need to play a huge role in this, which is great. I know a lot of time, people can go get food and this, but it has to be more than that. Like build some connections, like have some senior, connect them. Like I think we we need community when we are growing up, I think. And even a lot of like young boys that, come to us or call it, they really feel that there is nobody they can look up. Like there's lack of mentorship.
Yeah, like
Right.
you need a village to raise a child, and even for the newcomers, in Canada, they also need a village around themselves to, anchor themselves. And it's for the growth of the entire community. If one person does well, he does well for everyone. That spirit should be there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not so much about, as I think we were talking the other day, it's not so much about religion, but
Yeah.
just having that safe space where we can, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be, but then also the person, who's supporting also, be careful with your boundaries. Let's not, it's just that respect. It goes back to that respect and, being, just being there for each other, right? I think somewhere we're losing that, and I don't know what it is. And I think one of the big culprit is the busy time, the time we are in, right? And COVID didn't help. Like the people just start getting more and more isolated, and so that we started losing that connection.
Yeah.
So we really, I think, especially with women, I think we need more support groups. We just need to gather more. I think just women, when women gather with each other, I think it's such a great synergy, right? Like, even just meeting and laughing, and I think it's so important. I think that, something to look forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's very important, and I feel somewhere the spiritual strength of the entire community is there. That it's kind of a golden strand or a golden thread that helps every human life to connect with each other, and that is very important. And that's where you anchor yourself, and you can communicate with others, at a certain level.
Yeah. We need a lot of good mentorships. We need some strong women who have already gone through them, the like buddy system sometimes we had.
Yes, yes,
I think
buddy
that
is
is
the right word. Actually,
I was just trying to figure out what could be the word. Like, having someone who's gone through, like, and then you pair them up, and, like as if, like people who've been here for a very long time, like the family, when a new family is coming, like when there's new kid, let's connect them so they're not alone. Be big brothers, let's be big sisters and support them, right? And I think, and it actually makes you, for both parties, it's really fulfilling.
Yeah, yeah.
See that, right? Like everyone looks after their own kids, everyone have their, like, and I think we need to get out of that, and really, and you'll feel how much you feel so much contempt.
Yeah, so in fact, the tool of resilience is all within ourselves, and to reignite the spirit is also within oneself. What do you feel about it?
Sorry, Quincy, can you repeat that question? I got
Yeah,
cut.
I said just a general comment that the tool of resilience, within ourselves, reignite the spirit within our own selves, our own spirit. It has
Yes.
to be strong, and it should shine bright, and then that's where we get our, somewhere inner strength. How do you feel? Is it?
Oh, and I think that has been, why I think I've been able to do this work for last 20 some years, because every person, even I might not be able to get them the right housing, get them the right, where they need, but just helping them find that strength, helping them, go in there and say, and just reminding them the time's going to pass. This time's not good or bad, it's going to go, right? And then, but that time when you are this down, what is it that's going to help you? And I think for a lot of, like, I think within our community is a lot of these women have faith, and that makes it so much easier to remind them about that faith, and remind them about that spirituality, and try to find those strengths, right? And being resilient. And sometimes, we take pen and paper and we start writing down, and it's like, wow, like, she's like, seriously, I have all these things, right? Like we forget, and we get so hard on ourselves. And I think, yeah, and trying to find that some practice, that when I'm feeling this low, what is it going to help me, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of a reset space. Write it down and know yourself. Yeah. So,
Going to that place, yeah, within yourself.
Yeah, so can you share the number, the details of the helpline, South Asian helpline?
Yep. So for our transition house number, where you can get hold of me and any of the staff, is Harmony House at 604 592 6000. So once again, 604 592 6000. And for Sahas helpline, which is Punjabi, Hindi, English, you name it, we're able to support you in your own language, is 604 900 9221. So 900 9221.
Okay. And so I hope, like we have taken quite a lot of your time, and I
Thank
hope
you
we can
so much. Really
discuss.
appreciate it.
Yeah, again, like as we were talking before, I hope we can discuss each of the vulnerable groups, sections where you feel individually we can talk about them to help women find resources, and discuss the intricate, trigger points where one has to wake up and, take the next step and find the connecting resource to it.
Yeah.
Mm,
So
yeah.
just, one thing before I leave is sometimes I think because we women we're so strong and resilient, like, oh, this is not that bad. It's okay. It's not, this is not happening. So I always remind myself and other, if something has started, you feel that it's now started affecting your health, that you're feeling tired. Like it's like, because everyone is a different, right? For someone, their threshold is here, and someone, even if someone speaks loud enough, it's like they'll feel this is abuse, or like, so I think we're all different. Like that's fine. But I think one thing, if we can, it's a good self-check. Whatever I'm going through, is it affecting my health? And if it starts affecting your health, you need to do something about it. Really, really important, because if you're healthy and we'll be able to handle. But once your health start deteriorating, that's when it's the whatever you're going through, or whatever one person is going through, now it's going to a different level, and it's going to start affecting their health. So
Yes.
so that's one good way to check within
Yes,
yourself.
very important. Yeah, you also do yoga and you teach yoga as well.
Yeah. I wish I have more time though,
Yeah,
but
we will talk again. Yes, we have. We need to close. I've taken a lot of your time, and so you can be contacted at through PICS, right?
yes.
And of course, I will be sharing the information below the videos,
Thank you so
and the
much.
resource list also. I will put up that resource list. You can send it. Send
And
it to.
anyone who wants to come volunteer with us, you guys might have an idea that come share with us. I think we all need to support each other.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and observations and directions. Again, I'm so grateful for your presence here, Neena. No,
Thank
no
you,
way.
Anjali. Thank you so much.
All
Take
right.
care. Bye bye now.
You too. Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good one. Good night.